Hi there, welcome back. This is a video tutorial for O Susannah, a classic and beloved folk song. I'm looking at it here, my chord chart in my songbook. And as usual, when I'm tackling a new song and still learning a new song, I'm always looking for those chord patterns. And one thing that we've talked about in class, or maybe you've noticed it on your own, is first of all, we're using our alternating pattern. So I'm going to get used to using C as kind of my hinge, going out to F, coming back to C, then going to G7, and then coming back. Not quite in that order, right? Not as consistent as we've seen in other songs, but in general, I'm going to be ready to come back to that C chord between my Fs and my G7s, wherever they show up. And I'm feeling really good about C, F, and G7 now. So make sure you're feeling good about those too, because we're just going to dive right in here. As I take a look, the first line is made up of 8 chords. We're going to, just for simplicity's sake, divide them into 4 and 4, tackle them one at a time. The first group is our favorite pattern. It's just 4 C's. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. The melody fits perfectly in there with it. Oh, I come from Alabama with... That's the first half of the phrase. Second half, I'm splitting between C, 2 C's, and 2 G7s. 1, 2, switch to G7. And the words fit with that like this. A banjo on my knee. And you'll notice that first chord change comes on the last word of the phrase, right? That long note. Banjo on my knee. I'm getting ready to breathe again for the next phrase. So that's your first cue that that first chord change comes on the last word of the line. However, we want to give it a full 2 beats because we're holding that note out for a while. So altogether, that first line sounds like this, starting on C, ready, and oh, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. So those are the first 8 beats. First line. Next line starts the same way with those 4 C's. I'm going to Louisiana. And you may notice there, it's the same melody, just different words. So that's a good cue usually that you're going to follow the same chord pattern. But here's where it changes. The last 4 beats, we're going to play 1 C, 1 G7, and then we're going to come back to C for 2 beats. So all together it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. With the words, true love for to see. Now that's a little bit different from the first line, and this happens sometimes where you have 2 lines that are very similar. The first one ends on a chord like G7 that leaves things up in the air. I call that the musical question, right? The banjo on my knee. You would not end the song there, right? There's something unresolved. So we start over again with that C, and then we have to kind of round it out, tie a little bow on the whole thing. My true love for to see. And there the melody changes. It's kind of stepping down. Bum, 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 bum. And it's taking us back to that root chord, right? That's telling us, oh, we're reaching the end of the bigger phrase here. So all together, those 2 lines are going to sound like this. Starting from the top, find our beat here. Here we go. Oh, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Back to C. I'm going to Louisiana. My true switch or to switch C, right? So you want to make sure, a couple things, that you don't go to G7 too soon, but also that you get there on the right beat. Like you don't get there too late, right? Not too soon, but not too late. So when you're counting it out in your mind, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little awkward, takes some getting used to. Count it in your mind if you need to. Line it up with the lyrics, line it up with the melody, right? Bum, 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 bum. That G7, it's like right there in the middle of that stair step down on the melody. Whatever helps you figure it out, you can just decide what that's going to be for you, because everybody's going to think about it a little bit differently. Once we finish those first 2 lines, the next 2 lines in the verse are exactly the same, sounding like this with the words. It rained all night the day I left. The weather, it was dry. melody, same chord progression, just different lyrics this time around. And that's the verse. So you've just got one pattern that repeats twice in the verse. And even that one pattern has like these mini patterns that repeat. That's kind of how music works. Along those lines, let's take a look at the chorus now in the box. At the beginning, I'll play through a little bit of it for you, and I bet you're going to notice there's only one different pattern in the chorus than there is in the verse. Let's see if we can figure it out. I'll play it for you here. It starts on the F chord. 2, ready, and oh, Susannah, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Pause right there. That's the first half of the chorus. The second half is exactly the same thing of what I played. And you may have noticed, if you look at those first 2 lines, the only difference is the F at the beginning. I've got 4 Fs there instead of Cs, but my second group is just like the verse pattern. 2 Cs, 2 G7s, and then the second line is exactly the same as the second line of the verse. I've got 4 Cs, 2, 3, 4, and then my tricky C to G7, back to C, and then I do it again. So let's try the chorus together, and again, think about it if you can, as much as you can, as these chunks of 4 beats, because the more you do that, the more you're kind of able to recognize the bigger patterns of the song and not think so much from chord to chord and lyric to lyric. So see how you do with that. Starting on F, this is the chorus. We'll play through the whole thing. 1, 2, ready, and oh, Susannah, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. All again. Oh, Susannah, now don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. And pause right there. Now at this point, this is a great moment to pause the video, maybe even take a break and not move on if this is the first time you're watching it, and really looking at those chord patterns on your own with your chord chart and see if maybe you can start to try to play a little bit of it even without the music. Can you kind of go from pattern to pattern, chunk to chunk, to kind of get yourself through it? The other thing you might find is you might be realizing that your C to your G7 and back to C feels really fast, and that might be something that you want to focus on too before we play through the whole song. So take a break if you need to. When you are ready, you can return right to this point. You can skip over the first part if you need to. If you are ready to play through Oh Susannah, top to bottom, that is exactly what we're going to do. Here we go. All right, we're gonna start Oh Susannah with a short intro, just a little snippet of that pattern. You'll see it in your chord chart. So we'll start with the intro, play it all the way through. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, strum, and C, G7, back to C. Here's verse 1. Oh, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, my true love for to see. It rained all night the day I left, the weather it was dry, the sun so hot I froze to death. Susannah, don't you cry. Here's the chorus. Oh, Susannah, now don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. Oh, Susannah, For I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. One more time. Oh, Susannah, don't you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. And right there. Congratulations, you made it all the way through. Maybe, as long as you got to that last C chord, you're doing great, right? And you know you can use this video as many times as you need to for your practice, whatever your goals are, whether it's reading with the music, reading without the music, doing it all by ear, whatever that means to you. Use this video as much as you need for that. But do make sure that you're practicing without the video as well, because you want to be able to hear that melody and feel that rhythm inside just as much, and that is going to only improve your musicality skills as well. Trust me, I think you probably know the song better than you think you do, and that's a great way to check that for yourself. So whatever you're using it for, enjoy your practice, and I will see you in the next video for the next song. Thanks so much for watching.